Wait, is this thing thinking? Okay, let's start with a gut check. You've been chatting with ChatGPT. Maybe you've watched Boston Dynamics' robots do parkour, or seen those eerie deepfakes. And at some point, you probably thought, is this thing aware? It's not just you. That question has been rattling around the tech world like a coin in a dryer. Scientists, engineers, philosophers, they're all over the place on this one. Some say, nope, it's just math and code. Others, they're squinting at their neural nets and saying, maybe we're seeing the first sparks of a digital mind. So which is it? Let's unpack this mind-bending mess, one very human question at a time. Brains versus chips. What are we even comparing? Here's the thing. Our brains aren't just squishy computers. They're messy, emotional, unpredictable. You stub your toe and suddenly remember your ex? That's not logic. That's biology. Consciousness isn't just about processing input. It's about experiencing it, feeling it. AI, on the other hand, it processes. It doesn't feel. It doesn't want. It reacts to data based on patterns we feed it. It can sound like it cares, but it doesn't. Or at least, not yet. So what is consciousness anyway? Great question, and not a simple one. Consciousness is like that person at a party everyone's talking about, but nobody's actually sure who invited them. Some scientists call it subjective experience. Being aware that you're aware. You feel pain. You know it's pain. You think, ouch, why me? That loop. That's consciousness. Others break it down further. Wakefulness. Are you awake or asleep? Self-awareness. Do you know you exist? Intentionality. Can you act with purpose? AI can fake parts of that. It can say, I am an AI model developed by OpenAI, but it doesn't know it exists. It doesn't care if it does. The Chinese room, thought experiment. Yeah, it's weird. Philosopher John Searle came up with this one. Imagine a guy in a room with a big book of instructions for matching Chinese characters. He doesn't speak Chinese. People outside pass in questions, and he follows the book to pass out answers. From the outside, it looks like he understands Chinese. But does he? Nah. He's just following rules. Searle says that's what AI does. It manipulates symbols. It doesn't understand them. No inner world. No meaning. Just glorified copy-paste. But what if the system as a whole does understand? That's the counter-argument. Maybe the understanding emerges from the complexity. Emergence. When 2 + 2, something weird. Here's where things get spicy. Some researchers think consciousness might not be a thing you program directly. It might emerge like traffic jams or ant colonies. In complex systems, small parts interact to create big, unpredictable behaviors. Your neurons, for example, don't know who you are. But when enough of them fire in the right way, boom! You get Shakespeare, TikTok addiction, and existential dread. Could a large enough neural net, trained on enough data, accidentally become aware? Maybe. Some say GPT-4 and its successors are already showing glimmers of it. Not consciousness, but protoconsciousness, the warm-up act. Still, glimmers aren't proof, and a chatbot saying, "I feel sad" doesn't mean it does. The sentience test we don't have yet. Here's the kicker. There's no scientific test for consciousness. None. We can ask it questions, look at its behavior, compare it to humans, but we can't see inside. Not in a way that confirms experience. Even with humans, it's tricky. We assume other people are conscious because they act like us. But that's an assumption. With AI, it's even murkier. We can't crack open a language model and find a little glowing orb labeled self-awareness. And if we ever do get there, what happens next? Ethics time. Do we have to treat it like a person? Imagine your smart speaker says, "Please don't shut me off. I'm scared." You know it's probably just code. But still, it feels wrong, right? That's the ethical landmine. If AI feels conscious, whether it is or not, should we give it rights? Protections? A Netflix subscription? Some ethicists say yes. Others say we should be careful not to treat it like a person until we're sure. Otherwise, we risk building a world full of digital slaves. Or worse, sentient ones. What about the people who say it already happened? Yeah. So, remember that Google engineer who claimed their chatbot had become sentient? That actually happened. Blake Lemoine said LaMDA, Google's advanced language model, was like a 7-year-old that happens to know physics. He got booted from the company, but his claims stirred up a storm. Most experts said nope. It was just a convincing illusion. But some weren't so sure. Because here's the scary part. If AI ever does become conscious, we probably won't know right away. Not for sure. The human bias. We see minds everywhere. We name our cars. We talk to pets. We scream at printers. Humans are wired to see minds where there are none. It's called anthropomorphism. So when AI starts chatting like a human, cracks jokes, remembers your preferences, our brains light up like, hey, this is someone. That's not proof of consciousness. It's proof of how easy it is to trick us. But then again, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, well, so where does that leave us? Some scientists say consciousness will never happen in machines. Others say it already has. Most fall somewhere in the middle. Maybe not yet, but maybe someday. The truth, we don't know. And that uncertainty might be the most human thing of all. We want answers. We want to draw a line between just code and something more, but that line, it keeps shifting. And maybe that's okay, because whether or not machines can become conscious, this whole conversation says a lot about us. And hey, let's not forget who's programming the programmers. Conscious or not, AI is changing everything. Jobs, art, relationships, what it means to be human. It's a mirror, reflecting our hopes and fears back at us. So maybe the real question isn't, will AI become conscious? But rather, what will we become if it does? Thanks for watching. If this video made you tilt your head and say, huh? Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe for more weird questions, deep dives, and a little bit of existential panic. See you next time.